Before we dive into this story, drop your city and country in the comments. Let's see how far this story travels. It began with a sound no one expected to hear at an airport gate. The sharp tear of a passport ripped in half. Gasps filled the terminal. Cameras rose, and the man behind the counter smirked, thinking he had just put a passenger in her place. What he didn't know was terrifying. The woman he'd just insulted wasn't just any traveler. She was the FAA Inspector in disguise. Terminal C buzzed with the noise of rolling suitcases, chattering passengers, and final boarding calls echoing overhead. The scent of coffee and jet fuel mixed in the air. Amid the rush stood Danielle Carter, calm, composed, and quietly observant. She looked like any young woman heading home. Jeans, white sneakers, a navy hoodie. No badge, no sign of authority. Just another traveler. But Danielle wasn't an ordinary passenger. She worked for the Federal Aviation Administration, a field inspector known for her undercover audits. Today, she was here for a surprise evaluation of gate staff behavior, watching how they treated people when no one was watching them. Her posture was relaxed, her face unreadable. But inside, she carried the quiet confidence of someone who knew the rules better than anyone else in that terminal. She was about to find out how easily those rules could be broken. When the announcement called her boarding group, Danielle stepped forward with her ticket and passport in hand. The gate agent didn't look up right away. His fingers clacked lazily across the keyboard as if she wasn't there. Finally, he sighed and glanced up, his expression already tight with impatience. "Next," he barked. Danielle smiled politely and slid her documents forward. "Good morning." He didn't return the greeting. His gaze flicked from her passport to her face, then down to her outfit. He scoffed quietly, shaking his head. "You're flying business class." "Yes, sir," she said evenly. "Must be nice," he muttered, his tone dry and heavy with sarcasm. Passengers in line shifted uncomfortably. Danielle stayed calm. Years of inspections had taught her that silence was sometimes the most powerful response. But beneath her calm expression, something in her gut warned her. This man was about to cross a line. The gate agent flipped through her passport again, frowning exaggeratedly as if looking for proof of a lie. "This doesn't look right," he said. "Where did you even get this?" Danielle blinked, confused but controlled. "That's a valid federal passport," she said. "Is there an issue with my ticket?" "Plenty of issues," he snapped. "I've been doing this for 10 years. I know a fake when I see one." He looked over her shoulder at the next passenger. "Step aside, ma'am. You're holding up the line. I'm not moving until you explain why." "Security will handle it," he interrupted, his voice louder now. A hush fell over the waiting area. Murmurs began. A few people started recording on their phones. Danielle's pulse quickened, but her training kept her calm. She didn't argue. She simply watched, memorizing every movement, every word. Because this wasn't just rude. It was evidence, then it happened. Without warning, the agent lifted her passport and ripped it clean in half. The sound echoed like thunder through the gate area. Gasps erupted. A child cried out. A woman whispered, "Oh my God!" Danielle froze, her breath caught in her chest. For a moment, the world blurred, the torn edges of the passport falling to the floor like broken wings. The agent smirked, tossing the pieces into the trash. "Try flying now," he muttered. Humiliation burned in her stomach, but fear never came. She straightened slowly, her eyes steady, because while he thought he'd just ruined her flight, what he'd really done was ground his own career. He just didn't know it yet. The terminal went silent except for the hum of the air vents. A woman near the window whispered, "She didn't do anything." Another man muttered, "That's not right." Several passengers lifted their phones, quietly recording while others looked away, afraid to get involved. The gate agent folded his arms, smirking like he'd just won a small victory. "Security's on their way," he said loudly, glancing at Danielle with a smirk that begged for approval, but she didn't flinch. Her stillness made the crowd lean closer, unsure what would happen next. The tension thickened. the calm before the storm. Danielle took a slow breath and straightened her shoulders. Her voice was calm, steady, but sharp enough to cut glass. "You know," she said softly, "destroying a passport is a federal offense." The gate agent laughed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You think I care? I've seen plenty of fakes." He waved toward the entrance. "Security will deal with you soon." Danielle didn't argue. She simply nodded once, her eyes locked on him. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out a second phone. Black, sleek, government-issued. The agent's grin faded slightly, but he still didn't understand. Passengers leaned forward, phones ready. Everyone could feel it. Something big was coming. Danielle tapped the screen and made one call. Her voice, calm as steel, filled the space around her. "This is FAA Inspector Danielle Carter, badge 9021, she said. "Reporting personnel misconduct and document destruction at gate C12. I need compliance and verification immediately," the crowd murmured. The agent froze mid-step, confusion spreading across his face. "Wait, what did you just say?" he stammered. Danielle didn't look at him. She continued her report with quiet authority, describing the incident in precise official terms. Every word struck harder than any shout could. A minute later, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed through the terminal. The airport manager, out of breath and pale, rushed to the counter. "Inspector Carter," he gasped. "You weren't scheduled for inspection today." Danielle turned to face him, finally meeting his eyes. "Consider it a surprise audit," she said evenly. "And your employee just failed it spectacularly." Gasps swept through the passengers. The gate agent's smirk vanished completely, replaced by dread. The manager's tone changed instantly, respectful, trembling. "Inspector, I sincerely apologize. This is unacceptable." Danielle nodded, showing her badge again. "Please secure his ID and workstation immediately." The agent stammered. I didn't know who you were." She cut him off. "You didn't need to. You just needed to know how to treat people." Two airport security officers appeared, but they didn't approach her. They turned to him. "Sir, please step aside." "What?" "No, wait." The manager's voice cracked. "Hand over your badge and headset." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Passengers began to clap softly, the sound growing louder with every second. Justice wasn't loud. It was quiet, calm, and undeniable. Danielle faced the manager calmly. "Your employee violated federal law, destroyed a government document, and displayed discriminatory behavior in public view." The manager nodded quickly. "We'll take full responsibility. The FAA will be notified immediately." He turned to the agent. "You're done here." Effective immediately, the man's face flushed red. "I thought she was just some girl," he muttered. Danielle met his eyes, her voice soft but firm. "And that's the problem." Silence followed, the kind that leaves a mark. The tension that had filled the gate area moments ago began to lift. Relief washed over the crowd. Justice had arrived, and this time it stayed long enough for everyone to see it. By the next morning, the story spread across every terminal in the country. FAA Inspector exposes airport bias. The headlines read, "The FAA launched a nationwide review of airport staff training. Airlines issued statements promising reform." Within weeks, new programs focusing on professionalism and bias awareness were rolled out. Danielle Carter became a symbol of fairness, proof that power isn't about titles, but accountability. For passengers who'd witnessed it, her courage restored something they thought was gone: trust. Because justice didn't come from shouting or anger. It came from standing firm when silence was easier. The ripple of one act reached farther than any flight ever could. Later that night, as her plane climbed into the clouds, Danielle gazed out the window, quiet, thoughtful. She wasn't angry anymore. She was determined. In her mind, one phrase echoed, "Power only matters when it protects the powerless." She hadn't wanted revenge. She'd wanted change. And she got it. Below her, the airport lights faded into the distance, but the message stayed bright. Every passenger she'd inspired carried that light forward. Danielle didn't just reclaim her dignity that day. She reshaped an entire system, and she did it with calm, courage, and conviction. So how many more Danielles will be dismissed before they reveal who they really are? How many more moments like this will it take before respect becomes standard, not special? Fairness shouldn't be earned. It should be expected. If you believe that too, drop your city and country in the comments below. Let's see how far this story of justice travels, because one act of courage can reach across borders, across systems, and across hearts. And sometimes the smallest voice in the room carries the loudest truth.